Hi guys, Franz here. Welcome back to me actually. It's been a while since I've done a face cam rant. This is, as you can read by the title, a rant video slash talk video about Knights of Dragons. There's not really going to be any Knights of Dragons content in here, but it's just me going to talk about some Knights of Dragons content. So I've been seeing that my channel has been slacking as of lately, mainly because I have been ill. I've just been ill because of my disease, you know. It's called IDB in English. It's or IBD, intestinal bowel disorder or something. In Dutch, it's called Crohn's disease, but that's not the point here. You can see by the title that the Reckless family, or my family, of course, has officially gone indie, as they like to call it. I've been talking to Vodka, or I actually had a talk with Vodka months ago. He's the Guildmaster of Unity, the actual indie guild, the OG indie guild, whatever you want to call it. And Unity has always been indie, and they are not affiliated with any alliances whatsoever. They have their own in-house runs, and they do it with the entire guild itself. They don't go out for and see for other hitters to come with them. They don't go out to other alliances to seek for strips. They do everything themselves. And I would love to do what Vodka does, but I unfortunately can't, because you have an entire family leaning upon you. Because I wish I was indie before this, but what I want to do in this episode here is talk about Reckless family as a whole. This is not shameless self-advertisement, because you guys know about the Reckless family by now, and if you haven't heard of it, it's my family. I've started this 3 years ago, I believe. It's almost 3 years ago, because I believe September 2015. That's a while ago. That's a fucking long while ago. I mean, I've started Knights of Dragons when Euros was around, and that was 2013. And yeah, but basically what I want to talk about in this video is specifically the Reckless family. How did it start? What alliances were we in? And why are we now indie? And this is not going to be bashing any alliance. This is going to bash all alliance pretty much, because this is my personal opinion. You guys might have a different view, but this is just me going to talk about this excessively in this specific video, because I haven't talked about the Reckless family. I do talk about them sometimes, but I just don't do it in our video specifically made for us. So, hope you guys like my HD quality fuckface, because I'm actually doing this from my phone. Yeah, I'm not doing this via any camera or something. This is just my phone recording this, and honestly, it's much better, because my tablet only does 480p or something. This does 1080p. Not entirely sure on that, but this is actually HD quality fuckface of me. So it all started 3 years ago when I made Eternality. Eternality has already been here for 4 years almost. Since this April it will be 4 years, and like I made this guild around my birthday. I can't really remember, so I just decided to put like, hey, the birthday of my guild is just my birthday itself, 15th of April. That's about it. There's a lot of people that are actually having their birthday on 15th of April. I don't know why, but that's just the case. But I made that guild 4 years ago, and I at first we were in, or I was indie, you know, and then I decided to put line as a mandatory thing, you know. Usually I just did regular stuff, and when I got into line for too much and stuff, you know, and I loved the game back then still, and you know, I loved it differently back then as I do now, because looking back at that, I wish those times were still here. But I decided to join a branch, and together with an alliance, because I wanted to have some easier things. You know, I didn't know. I heard people talk about strip wars sometimes, and I was like, what the fuck is a strip war, you know? And then now I do realize what a strip war is, because it's the thing that my guild relies on the most in terms of guild wars. So I joined the Brotherhood, or Brotherhood for Life, B4L as they like to call themselves. I joined them with my guild, and after a while, you know, I saw how good their family was running. And they are like 10 guilds back in the day. They are still alive, but it's like both Reckless family and Brotherhood, kinda, they are still here, but they're kinda like meh with the remnants that were still there. They are trying to rebuild, but I'll come back to that in a bit. If you see my face glowing and then sometimes not, it's because of the sun being a bitch and just shining and not shining and shining, and there's a cloud in the way and blah blah blah. And now unfortunately it's not shining, so meaning I'm turning half blind right now. But the Reckless family came to a stand when I saw that I wanted a family too, you know, and I decided to build the Reckless family around the Brotherhood. They didn't know about it at first, and I decided to come clean and tell them, and they actually loved it, you know. And we were two families working together. We were part of Empire back in their prime, you know, that was like 4 years ago. Death Knights, Bond Beyond Time, top 1 and top 3 each damn time. You know, that was amazing to see Death Knights and Bond Beyond Time. But Empire, after a while, they became greedy. They became really fucking greedy. And then that was the fall of Empire. Like, when was it? It's a couple of years ago already, you know. Empire is still here, of course, but they kind of fell down. They kind of fell down from their throne of DK and Bond Beyond Time. You haven't seen Death Knights or Bond Beyond Time in a while anymore, mainly because if DK or BBT starts to run, they want to do it with a top 1, you know. They want to do it with a very heavy push, because if you see Death Knights in top 10, it's like people are going to say like, hey, this is not what Death Knights used to be, and I can completely understand that. But Empire has fallen because of greediness. Reckless family, I decided to how do you say this properly? Do this thing. You know, I wanted to be a sub-family of Brotherhood for Life back in the day with the Reckless family. But we started growing so big that we could become a part of our own. You know, that we could be a branch on our own, we could fill our own things. And we had so many things. We had so many people, and it was lovely. You know, that was the prime of Reckless family as well as Empire. But Empire started to crumble at once, and TFO was formed back in the day. You know, it was Empire and 3D back in the day. There were also other stuff. You know, you used to have the Jedi, the Sith branch, the stuff like that. And I didn't really want to get involved into too much of these alliance shits. And, you know, I decided to stay out of it as much as I can, but I got more involved anyway. And back when I saw that Empire was crumbling, I was like, I have to get out of here before the real downfall comes. And that downfall was when NWO was being made, you know, because then SOB left and blah blah blah. So I was already ahead of them. Empire was so big that even if TFO, even when Sith left, you know, and formed TFO, it was still like major big. You know, they still had SOB, they still had Majestic, they still had OTB, they still had all these branches. And it just, like, I felt like I had to leave before they actually started to crumble, because I knew you were pretty much sitting on a time bomb. And then I didn't really have any specific reason of leaving Empire with my family. There was just mainly me saying to my people like, hey, this is going to be a time bomb and I want to be out of here before it starts crumbling. So TFO was made, and TFO was the alliance that was reigning after Empire's rise and fall, I guess. And TFO has risen back in the day, and they were doing top 1s every damn time. I loved it. We had Darth Maul, aka David, I believe he's called, as the dictator. Let's just the leader. You know, I really don't want to call him a dictator, but it pretty much, when somebody is at the top, you know, when there's just one guy at the top, it's pretty much a dictatorship. Or maybe it's a beneficial dictatorship, but still a dictatorship. There's one guy at the top. That same thing goes for Reckless family. I'm at the top, but I'm a beneficial leader, as I have heard from others. I listen to my people and make my judgments from them. You know, I listen to them instead of that they have to listen to me. I in the end still make the call, but I do it based on others, their opinions. You know, if I see that they want to leave, then we can leave. If they don't want to leave, then we don't. You know, that's just as simple as it is. But I'll come to that in a bit. So I was with my council, and I said like, hey, should we go to TFO? Because that's the prime. I wanted the best for my branch back in the day, and I just posted something like, hey, do you guys want this? And they actually just replied, yeah, sure, why not? You know, and some actually stayed with Empire, and most of us moved over. You know, and so I don't know what the Brotherhood did after that, but I don't know. But somewhere in between the line of Empire and TFO switching, we also had this thing named the Reckless Brotherhood. We actually merged families back together, or we actually merged families together, and what we did was we fucked a ton of people back in the day, because we had a free-to-play rotation, and that got like top 25 plus each damn fucking week because of the heavy hitters. You know, that was Reckless Brotherhood in its prime, and unfortunately, after a while, the leaders of, or the guild masters of both Reckless family and Brotherhood, you know, they kind of had different ideals, and they started picking on each other, and usually it was not told too much, but after a while, you know, in the entire council chat, it just started getting fucked up. And recently, I have gotten contacts back again with the Brotherhood, and we are doing the exact same thing as we did back in the day, but we are deciding to stay as two separate families, because we don't want it to be one family again and do it like we did last time, because IBH fell really... Reckless family as well as the Brotherhood really fell apart after that IBH split up. So Reckless moved to TFO, and from Brotherhood I don't know after that, because I kind of just dropped contacts with them. And it is specifically about Reckless family, by the way. This is just the history until now. And then we had the TFO rise and fall. As we already were gone before TFO fell, actually, before TFO joined Omega. We were like with NWO about 4 months now, no, not even sure, but I believe it was like September 2017 back when we joined them, or maybe even later, you know, somewhere down the line. We are Indy for a week now. It's allianceless actually, but Indy and allianceless, man, they kind of have, it's a different thing, but still, you know, we are still reliant on other branches, and Unity is the actual Indy guild. So don't get me wrong when I say Indy, but I still love Unity, you know, I still love Unity for what they do. So don't get me wrong when I say Indy, because I've had... So don't get me wrong when I say Indy, because I've had this talk with Mr. Vodka, the Guildmaster of Unity, you know, about what Indy actually is. Because we had a talk about the Terrible Bones and stuff, and the Terrible Bones claims to be Indy, but they are not. They are reliant on their subguild and other hitters from alliances, and Unity isn't. You know, Unity is just Indy. They are completely on a guild themselves. And that's basically what I was talking to him about. And I was actually giving him his opinion was actually right. Because Indy is Indy, you know? You don't need other hitters from other guilds, you're just on yourself. And that's what Unity is. So Unity is the actual Indy guild, but Indy families also exist. And the Terrible Bones was one of them. And they're going on a retirement run pretty damn soon. Not really sure, because I'm in way too many fucking runs. I believe I'm scheduled for like 6 runs in the next 4 weeks or something. So yeah, that's going to be a lot. That's really going to be... I'm in 2 wars this weekend. I'm in 1 raid next weekend, a free-to-play. Another war and so on. You know, I've been running more, now I'm sick. So I can't do much more. But aside from that, so when the First Order was at their rise, they actually had this rule being you can't push into top 10 if you're unsanctioned, and the number 10 is one of a sanctioned run of the First Order. That rule actually caused major damage to some guilds and their top runs, you know, because many guilds just want to push as high as they can, even if they are unsanctioned. And sometimes a run goes on the loose. I've done this like 2 to 3 times in the First Order, by the way. And my runs were actually not unsanctioned. Some were sanctioned, but others were like lower sanctioned than the actual sanctioned run. And the last one was the family business. I've also shown that. And apparently the family business we were NWO. And the family business is a guild from a Reckless family, so they were a part of NWO. They were listed as an NWO guild. But apparently, for some reason, my guildmaster from the family business got it sanctioned in TFO. So they didn't update their guild list, I guess. And for some damn reason, it almost got top 10 too. But unfortunately, we were cock-blocked by leadership from TFO. This happened to me 3 times, by the way, this cock block with running so far, because, you know, maybe it'll happen more, but I don't think so, because now we are officially an Indy family. You know, we don't do anything with alliances anymore aside from strips, so we are kinda still alliance, but not yet. You know, we're not completely allianced. But I've had this 3 times, and the family business was the last one. In these 3 times, I have kicked 6 or 5 moderators from my people that chats, and just tell them, bash the fuck out of them. It was raid as well as war, by the way. The family business was a raid, but I've also had a war saying that, you know, and I've had a ton of hate for that, but I've also had a ton of love from my own people for that. Because I'm not going to let you tell my people what to do in terms of when to run. You know, if my people want to push top 10, I say go ahead, go fucking ham. And last time I actually did the same thing, And there were also a lot of people from TFO in there, you know, and they were like, no, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to get into trouble. And I realized that, and I respect that, but I decided to say to my own people, like, hey, hit all you want, hit as hard as you want. And the people from the First Order in the top 10 run really got fucking scared. And that was so lovely to see, because I love making people scared for top runs. In terms of like, hey, we're coming for you, bitch, you know? And that's just the way to go. That's just something that I love to do, making other people scared in top runs. Like, we're coming for you and we're going to kill you. Unfortunately, we didn't make top 10, but I already knew that it was going to happen. It's just me making a statement of, you're not touching my people. You're not telling my people what to do, because they are mine, you know? I mean, not as in I claimed them, they are actually mine or something, but it's like they follow me, not you. So just shut the fuck up, I guess. And after that, you know, we completely moved to NWO. And here's the fun part. Here's where it all begins. So NWO, back when I was interviewed, I guess, for this alliance, this was a brand new alliance. It was OTB, Majestic, Gypsy, SOB, and I guess 8080s, Supernatural, and we joined them after. I think we were the last branch that joined them. And what actually happened was, we decided to do an interview, or because we had to, you know, and they were asking like, or the council, I guess, there were a lot of leaders from other families, you know, such as D from Gypsy, Bart from OTB, was he from OTB? I don't know, but there were a lot of big leaders, you know, P-Bear from Majestic and stuff. They were all in there, you know, and I was like, oh, yay, the big leaders from the big branches. Okay, they were really nice to me at first. You know, I'll get to the not nice part after that. But what happened? What happened in NWO? They had the policy of hardest hitter wins. Meaning, if you push top 10 and there's a sanctioned top 10 and it gets pushed out, doesn't matter. That's the main reason why we left TFO. Also because it was too much of a dictatorship, because the leaders had too much control of your guild. And that, if there's something that I don't want, is somebody from the outside having control over one of my own guild masters, their guilds. That's not what I want, you know. I want them to be in control themselves, and I want to do them. I want to let them do what they want to do with that guild, and I don't want them to have like this thing, this blockage of objects or people, for that matter, saying like, hey, we don't want you to push higher. You know, that's the main reason on why we left TFO. And we came to NWO because they had the policy like, hey, hardest hitter wins. And it was all promised that it's going to be just fun and stuff. You know, and I was like, sure. And I personally thought, you know, and I was in NWO for like almost half a year, I believe, with my family. And I thought for like 4 months, because I just realized this 2 months ago, that they actually had a leadership. That they actually had a council/leadership. And they told me that it was going to be, so there's 3 things here. The first thing is that they had the hardest hitter policy. The second thing is that they said that it wasn't going to be a dictatorship. And the third one is that they said it's basically, so dictatorship meaning it's just run by the guild masters / family leaders. And the third one was actually them promising or saying that we could actually, like, how do you purport this properly? That the family heads actually had a saying. You know, that every branch had a saying. Or family / branch, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's 3 reasons why I joined NWO. And that's what they told me. And let's go over all these reasons after 6 months. So, the first reason was that the first thing, like, let's just start with that it's being run by the guild masters. That's wrong. NWO is not being run by the guild masters. NWO is being run by a leadership of like 10 people that everybody is supposed to know, I guess. But turns out they are all heavy jammers that are all pushing top 1 each damn time with their own family guilds. So basically the jammers stay on top, even in leadership. You know, not because of their leadership quality. Myself is a free-to-play player. You know, I haven't bought a single gem in 5 fucking years. And I'm at the top at my own family. Because of my skills. You know, I don't really think I have any skills in leadership, honestly, but they stay with me for a reason, you know? And honestly, from some others of the actual leadership in NWO, not the family hats, but the leadership, I don't really consider them good for politics, honestly, because leadership involves politics a lot, and I don't see half of NWO leadership actually they are just heavy hitters. I don't see them actually doing some politics, you know? I don't see, because honestly, they think that respect has something to do in politics. You can forget that, because the President of the United States of America said fuck her right in the pussy. I mean, that's respectless as fuck. It's only about facts and opinions. That's all that politics is about. You can tell me whatever you want about, oh my god, it's about feelings and respect. No, it's about facts. And NWO had these three things that they fucked up. You know, they just, I don't know, they just did this, you know, they grabbed it and they just threw it away. That's what they did. They just threw it in the trash can, and that this all happened about a week ago. You know, a week or two ago. And, okay, so, like I said, the half of the leadership in NWO is pretty much incompetent for being leadership. You know, because I was like, okay. And I heard this like 2 months ago that they had leadership. I still thought I was in charge together with the other family hats, but apparently there were like a couple, 12 to 15 people in charge of NWO. You know, they don't call themselves moderators, they are just the council / leadership of NWO. And half of them wasn't even a branch hat or something. So I'm like, okay. Then I was like, sure. You know, and then all of a sudden, I knew that. Okay, so we are not going to be run by the branch hats, but we're going to be run by leadership. Okay, so there's, from the 3 reasons, there's 1 down. So we still have 2 left. The second one, you know, was the policy. How to say the wins. 2 weeks ago. Here we go. 2 weeks ago, I've heard from a couple of the leadership, I guess, that they were going to maybe implement a rule about how to say the wins is that they are going to be controlling the leaderboards, meaning sanctioned and unsanctioned are going to be controlled, and top 10, or you cannot push higher in top 10 if there's a NWO run in the danger zone. And I was like, that's basically throwing it away. And at first I was in that chat and they said to me like, okay, you know. So I honestly was surprised. I was honestly surprised, you know, that they would actually implement this, because I left TFO because of that. But then I also realized some people retired that actually made NWO, and I guess that they had this policy in their heads, and that policy left together with them when they retired. And I believe that actually happened, because a lot of the NWO leadership / blah 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 retired, and or the actual the family hats, you know, of Alpha, mainly Alpha of course, and Gypsy, they actually retired, and it was like, now they are gone, so is the old policy. And the other ones, you know, they want to make it an empire, and honestly, that's not what I wanted. They wanted to be a bigger TFO, and that's not going to work for me, you know. So what happened was about the beginning of this week, I believe it was, I was added to a chat, and they actually forced me to give me or to give them an answer or a reply, whatever you want to call it, to the question: do you abide, as some of the leadership said, do you abide this new rule? You know, and all of a sudden the word respect came in again, you know, and I was like, it's politics. No respect is not needed in politics, because, you know, stuff, there's no respect in politics, honestly. And they were asking me if I was abiding the new rule, meaning, do you want to be with the new rule or not? Like, I was like, so this is meaning the controlling the top 10 and up. And I didn't even say a damn word. I was still triggered about me getting removed from NWO chat because I slapped someone virtually with a cane. That's honestly what happened. I can show it on this screenshot right here. I was actually removed from NWO Guildmaster chat for slapping somebody with a cane, virtually, for just saying that. And it was a joke, first of all, and second of all, people were pissed off, so I was like, meh, maybe making a joke would make it better, but I got removed because of that. So I was already kind of triggered because of that, and I wasn't really paying attention to what it actually was. And then all of a sudden, everything started collapsing and people started getting mad. You know, the entire leadership of NWO leadership, excuse me, got mad at my people, I guess, because they went really glad that we gave our opinion, you know. But the question was, do you abide this rule or not? If you abide, then you can stay. If you don't, then you leave. Simple. And I still haven't given an answer to that, but eventually I removed my own people from NWO chats back because I got a re-invite. I removed everybody and they removed me from the other chats that I still had to leave. And, you know, it was all settled. And I didn't even say a yes or no, because honestly I was more focused on the last thing. You know, I remember those 3 rules. This is the second one that I just threw away. Here's the third one. They were saying that every family had an equal saying. I don't know what to say about this one, honestly, because I've had the big boss of a big branch tell me, and you can see it on the screenshot right here, that small families that are labeled indie in NWO have no saying. I'm not going to tell you guys which one it was, but he personally tagged me online and he told me that you have no saying as an indie branch. And this goes for 8080s, Supernatural and Reckless Family. We were labeled as indie. 8080s and SN got mad at them too because of them saying that. I really wanted to trigger this reaction because I already knew that the bigger branches would have the upper hand here. But I decided to say, I really wanted to trigger this reaction, but the big boss of a big branch told me this, you know, and I loved it. I loved it when he said that to me, because that's exactly what I wanted to hear, that it's just fucked up in NWO, that they are just being a dictatorship. The bigger branches have the saying, and the smaller branches just have to abide or leave, you know, just like what happened right now. And you can ask me about anything right now, you know, about, fuck, where are you going now with Reckless Family? I'm not going anywhere. I mean, we have had Empire, we have had NWO, we have had TFO. They shouldn't have changed their name, they should have just stayed together, because in the end it's all the fucking same. Empire got greedy, TFO got greedy, NWO got greedy. They all have the same rules, but it's just purported differently and with a different leadership each damn time, and in the end it just falls apart. You know, now we also have Family of Honor and We Stand United being apart from each other and blah 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 and LGX and stuff, and I don't even know who's working together with who anymore. I really don't care actually, because I could care less. But honestly, I'm telling you guys, it's best to just go indie together with your girls / together with your family, blah blah blah. So that's why I'm telling you, if you have a guild, you know, and if you're in charge of a guild and you're having too much trouble with politics, just join the Reckless Family. We have as least the politics as you can. This isn't a share. I said at the beginning, this isn't advertisements, but it kind of also is, because I've had some guilds that actually came to me saying like, hey, or actually some people too, you know, sometimes it's guilds, sometimes it's people, and they actually tell me like, hey, I'm having trouble with my alliance, and then I just say to you like, what's wrong, you know, and then I get the situation, and it's always too much politics. Then I just tell them, come to us, and I've had a ton of people that actually told me, hey, when there's too much politics, I'm coming to you, you know, I'm not going anywhere except to you, and that's lovely to hear, because I would love to have new hitters, I would love to have new people in my branch and family, and yeah, it's just nice to see your own family growing. And now that we have left NWO / kicked, it's not really like we were already planning on leaving anyway, but we also did get kicked kinda. So it's kind of on both ways, but it just feels like to me that being indie is best. You know, you can of course you can join an MDR for strips if you're reliant on that, but honestly, being indie is best. If you have a guild, you know, consider the Reckless Family if you ever have too much politics on you. And we don't do politics, we just do hitting. We are one big family together, you know, and ever since we have left NWO, we actually are thriving more than ever. We are more into some unity. We are still doing things with the Brotherhood again. They are also indie. You know, we are two families that are going to grow together. Also the Killer Order, but that's a sub-branch of the Brotherhood, I guess. And the two of us, you know, the Brotherhood and the Reckless Family, are doing so well. You know, we already have free-to-play schedule. We already have done everything we can to make this work. And it's already working. The unity of uniting people together is best when it's indie, not when it's in an alliance, honestly. Because I've had my people getting closer together now that we are indie. You know, that now that we are out of every alliance chat, we started talking in the Reckless family chat more. And damn, has it gotten a reboot since we became indie. And I fucking loved it. I really did fucking love it. And is this something that I recommend going indie? Yes. You have to know what you're doing, of course, because if you're like, meh. But honestly, NWO, EMP, TFO, why change your name? You only did a name change. The First Order did a name change, but it's called EMP 2.0. And honestly, I can say that NWO also shouldn't have done... They also shouldn't have done it. They shouldn't have changed their name. It should be just EMP 3.0. Honestly. If you look at it correct, or if you look at it this way, Empire is actually just an order. An empire is a dictatorship. The First Order, order also means a dictatorship, because the First Order in Star Wars, for example, has been led by Mr. Snoke. That's already dead. And NWO also has the World Order, so Noob World Order is basically the same thing as the First Order, basically the same thing as Empire. So in the end, it doesn't matter to what alliance you go, you're exactly where you're at the beginning. So if you switch from NWO to TFO, you're still an NWO. If you switch from Empire to TFO, you're still an Empire. It's just different people and the exact same rules, honestly. You can pretty much hear by my voice and also by my face that I'm tired. I really am tired, and I just wanted to do this video specifically for the channel in here, that I'm done with alliances, and I'm done with all this bullshit, that I'm done with people calling me out on stuff that's I don't fucking know. You know, I've been called out multiple times in alliances for no reason at all, actually. You know, and I'm like, I'm still here. You know, and I've still people following me. I don't know. I just don't know what to say anymore to this, honestly. It's just, I love being indie. If you want to join the Reckless family, let me know in the comments down below. Empire Global, or Empire Global, goddammit. Knights of Dragons Global Android is where we are at. I'm also on EU, you know, if you want. This was one big fucking video. I'm sorry that it's so big, but it's just, I had to make this video. It just feels like to me that I have to make you guys aware of that, whether you should be just with your family, not with an alliance. Because Family of Honor and We Stand United, they both left TFO for a reason. And I can see that reason now. You know, I have left Empire, I've left TFO, I've left NW, I've left them all because of the same reason, actually. Just being a dictatorship, just being told what to do with your guild. That's something that I never want my people to have. You know, somebody else from the outside telling them what to do with their guild. And that's the main reason on why I'm actually hating on alliances for all. I love what alliances did for the game, but it's just, it's not always good to be in an alliance, honestly. I mean, all alliances have their ups and downs, but now I've come to the conclusion that both Empire, TFO, and NWO, that they are all exactly the same. It's just a goner for me. It's just, indie is bae. That's what I told my people, guys. Indie is bae, is what I always told them. And honestly, I'm completely right, because now we have left every alliance, that we are not alliance anymore. We have had the time of our lives, and it's just been 2 days, 3 days maybe, tops. And honestly, I want to give a big shout out to NWO leadership for kicking me, actually, to kick the Reckless fan. I really do, because you guys united us more than ever, and you guys made something better out of the Reckless family, even though you guys kicked us because of you wanting control over us. But big shout out to NWO leadership for doing that, you know. And like I said, I'm not going to call out any names because I'm respectful. So big boss of big branch, you can learn something from that. And honestly, others can do too, because I've also had some people personally attacking my own people, saying like, hey, blah blah blah, I'm not going to stand down because of this shit. it's fucking pathetic, honestly, to call people out on a fucking game. Especially because of politics in a game. It's just fucking pathetic, you know? Just leave it be and don't call people out. That's the main thing that I also hate about some people, that they are personally attacking others, you know? And of course it usually involves me, and like I'm not trying to talk about it or something, but it's just fucking unnecessary. But guys, fucking hell, for over 30 minutes, sorry. It's just been such a long time. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys actually enjoyed this video and actually know my personal view about alliances right now. I'm not crying, I'm just a little bit... Man, my voice is killing my throat right now. But it's just... alliances are bullshit, is the conclusion of this video. You should be with your family and with your own guild instead of an alliance. Alliances are up to no good. NWO, EMP, TFO, wherever the fuck you are, it's going to be a dictatorship. It's really going to be a dictatorship. And from Empire and TFO we know that it's a dictatorship. NWO has recently formed itself as a dictatorship. Can't do anything about it, honestly. So, that's all I have to say. The conclusion is, alliances are greedy, alliances are fucked up. That's the conclusion. And I love being indie. Honestly, if you ever want to join the Reckless family, we have no politics. We don't do politics, we just do hitting, we just have fun with each other. That's about it. Just join the Reckless family is basically also the conclusion of this video. We follow our own rules, which is not much. Really not much. It's just have respect for each other, and that's about all. I mean, politics and respect, I said they don't go well together, but we have no politics, so we do respect instead. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. If you actually made it to here, I'm going to give you a like personally. I'm going to give you 2 likes. I could even take my dick up, but I'm not going to, because that will get me censored and banned from YouTube. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all again next time.